7 Steps to Successful Fly Fishing, Your First Time Out by Craig Fellon. Following steps, I'll try to guide you upstream as you confront the more obvious problems you'll encounter as a novice fly fisher. Step 1, reading the water. It would seem obvious that before you make your first cast, you should have a general idea of where the trout are living or holding, as we say. After guiding for 3 decades now, I can say without hesitation that most novices and many experienced anglers don't have a good feel for where the trout are holding when they approach a stream or river. Watch a proficient guide or angler approach what he or she thinks is a promising stretch of water, and the first thing they do is stop and watch. When I approach a river, I don't get in the water until I've really studied bank to bank. It's amazing what you see when you take the time to stop and look. Nothing should be assumed at this point, and yet everything you've learned as to where the trout hold and why should be considered. What you should do, and it is so critical to your imminent success, is to simply kneel or sit on a nice flat rock and observe what is going on before your eyes. Do you see fish rising? This is the easiest way to determine where trout are holding if you can see them feeding on the surface of the water. Sometimes the rises are easy to spot, as is the case with emerging caddisflies when trout explode on the surface. Other times, especially when trout are sipping spent mayflies or spinners, as they are called, the rises are almost imperceptible. If nothing is working on top of the water, then your attention should turn to what might be going on below the surface. Do you see insects on the water or flying around that might indicate a hatch is about to start? If so, the trout are feeding on emergers just underneath the surface. Look for flashes and movement, which also might indicate trout are feeding on nymphs and emergers that are only minutes away from hatching, in which case you might tie an emerger or a dry fly on, or both. Statistically, trout feed near the bottom of the river or stream 80% of the daily life. After at least 5 minutes of observation with nothing moving near the surface of the water, you might deduct that the trout are feeding on nymphs in deeper riffles, runs, and pools. This is generally the situation you'll confront when you approach a good-looking stretch of water. But you've taken the time to make the appropriate observations before you decide to make your first cast. How to determine where the trout are holding when they aren't showing themselves comes through experience and could be the subject of an entirely separate article, which we won't explore for now.